this is Nick and welcome to my channel. Today, I want to share with you how I did my July monthly pages in my bullet journal. Harry Potter is one of my favorite book series of all time, so I decided for Harry's birth month, I'm going to do a Harry Potter theme on my bullet journal. Let's get started. Since I'm still recovering from my fracture on my left wrist, I decided I'd make things easy for me and just use washi tapes for this month. Here you can see me just swatching the washi on the page. I love this washi tape. I got it from Baby Glider and it shows the different scenes from book 1 of Harry Potter. My setup now for planning is very different from how I did it in the past, so I'm struggling to actually put on the designs here because aside from my injury, I am quite far from my bullet journal. I'm also nearsighted, so I could barely see the lines on my notebook. I don't know if you noticed, but the washis are not actually straight. For the header, I decided to go for a vintagey look. So I took this book that I used for that ripped book effect and wrote the month. I actually didn't notice that I wrote the wrong month. I wrote June instead of July and just saw it while I was editing this video. It's a good thing I used prepositional glue for this so I could easily replace this after I filmed this video. The glue that I'm using is called Zig two-way glue. You can use it two ways. One is for a permanent bond and the other is for a repositionable bond. I actually have a video on how that works and I'll put the link in the description below in case you're curious. I'll discuss how I colored this header in a while, but for now, here is my July cover page. So moving on to the calendar page, I'm doing the same rip page aesthetic on this, so I'm taking my book again and writing the different headers. If you're a bookworm like me who likes this aesthetic but cannot rip out pages in the book, I have a video and I will link to it down below to help you find that book that you can rip out. I don't know if it's evident in this video, but doing this ripping is actually hurting my wrist and my fingers. My fingers are actually frozen from being in a cast for 6 weeks. After ripping all of these, I actually felt really tired. Anyway, going back to decorating, I'm putting glue on all the corners and all the sides of the paper, making sure I don't miss a spot. This ensures that when I color this, it won't curl or crumple or tear the paper. Here you can see me fanning the strips of paper using my platform 9 3/4 ticket to make sure that the glue dries really fast. Once the glue is dry, I can turn it over and color it. The glue will hold the strips of paper so I can color it properly. I'm using a process called ink blending, where I'm taking some ink and blending it into the paper. I am using the ink called Tim Holtz Distress Ink Walnut Stain, and I love how it gives the paper a very vintage look. So after blending the ink on the paper, I took the ink pad and dabbed it across the corners and the lines of the strips of paper. This will make the edges darker than the middle, which gives it a more finished look. I wanted to give this page a more Harry Potter vibe, so I took out my washi tapes and tried to figure out what design would look best. I also realized that my washi is a kawaii type of washi while my headers are actually vintage, so they don't really match. But this is my bojo, so I guess whatever. Here I'm cutting out the golden trio from the washis. I'm using my Gyro cutter to cut in the middle and make it easier to form those weird shapes. And then I just stuck them beside my headers. I guess that will work. Next, I drew the calendar. This was really a struggle for me because aside from it's a little painful to use the ruler, I could barely see the lines of my bullet journal. I kinda regret not putting it in pencil before filming, but I wanted to save time, so I decided I'd just go ahead and do this. Here you can see me making small dots or markers on the different areas of the calendar. This will help me line up my ruler later when I draw the lines. Each block in this calendar is measured 5 by 5 squares, and each square is actually 4 millimeters, so that's 4 times 5. I don't want to do the math, but that's the size of my calendar. I'm using the Hobonichi notebook in A5 size. I love the grid size, which is again 4 millimeters, but I hate how thin the paper is and how bad the ghosting is. Another thing that I love is that it has so much pages. I'm now in July and I'm just, I think, 3/4 of the way into this notebook. The calendar looked a little bland, so I figured I'd add this pop of color using my Sailor Shikiyori brush pen. I forgot what color this is. I think it's the OU. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then I used my white Uniball signal to label the calendar. On to my last spread, which is my faith and finance trackers. Well, they're not really trackers, they're more of plans. My plans for my faith and my budget for this month. So for the headers, I'm just repeating the process of tearing paper, and you can see how badly the teared paper looks like this time because again, my wrist or my injury really hurts at this point. But hey, nothing's stopping me from finishing this layout. While waiting for the glue to dry, I decided to write down the headings that I'm gonna use for my faith and finance plan. By the way, in this plan with me video, you won't actually see me write anything on these pages aside from the layout because I haven't really sat down and thought about what I plan to do for this month. The past week has been so hectic and it's just so crazy, so I haven't really sat down and thought about it. I have a few more days before July though, so all is good. By the way, the tool that I'm using to color the paper is called an ink blending tool. Match the previous spread and my actual Harry Potter theme. Again, I took out the washi tape that I used a while ago and cut out the golden trio using my Gyro cutter tool. I'll put the link down below for the Gyro cutter. I have a review of the Gyro cutter in my channel. And now I'm finally done. And that is my July 2020 Harry Potter theme. Thank you for watching. Bye!